So I think we should be live. Welcome everyone to the Inside Wire first live stream. So you can probably see right behind me at the moment I have a load of boxes, so I'm hoping to get through this quite quickly. I do have the live chat open, so if you want to talk to me or you want to send any messages, feel free to pop it in the live chat. So hello to the few of you that are already out there already. Hi Felipe, thank you for being first. Mr. Jedi. The UMVR Enterprise, I really wish I could be saying that this was what I was unboxing, but you'll probably notice behind me that it's not there. But who knows, maybe a future video will be coming on this. So let's jump straight in, and I'm going to start with an easy and simple one. So I'm just going to flick my camera down. And we're going to take a look at the patch cables. So we have two right here in front of us. There's two styles that Ubiquiti actually sell. So we have the Ether style. So we have the patch cables, which are for the Ether Lightning ports, and we have the traditional patch cables that they had originally. So if we take a look at the two different types there, so you'll see they come in a variety of different ones. So we have the Ether Lightning patch cables, which come in a bunch of different sizes, and I do have them as well, so I'll show you those in just a second. And we have the standard patch cable which has the bend on them. So let's go ahead and open these up. So here we go. Yeah, I should know this by now. There's a pull tab on the back, so let's open these up. And these are individually cabled, so each one. And the DAC cable, so this is actually a 5 meter cable. So this will go a fair distance. So if you want to take a closer look at those, and we have the bend on the front of them, so you can bend them to the patch cabinet and how you want them set up. So in terms of the Ether Lightning or the Pro Max switches, as we've seen them come about over the last few months, I'm going to show you these two right here. We have the two different kinds. So this one has more of a translucent boot on it. So let's go back down to here. So you can see both of those, that they have a bit of a translucent boot. So it's entirely up to you whichever way you wish to go. I'm going to quickly plug these in. I wasn't planning on doing this, but if we get enough time, I'm going to plug these into a Pro Max switch and see which one actually comes out and looks a little bit better. I believe this one will, because it has the translucent part at the bottom, whereas this is not see-through at all. So I'm going to just chuck this to the side. Also, a big thank you to Ubiquiti for sending me these. So let's have a quick look. And as I mentioned, I have a bunch of these different patch cables. So we have the 5 meters, and if I move these to the side, I have a whole bunch here, as you can see. So I have enough till my heart is content. I don't think you can ever have enough cables. So we have 3 meters. We have, I'm not going to sit and unbox every single one of these, don't worry, but if you do want to see that, then let me know, and maybe that's another live stream. So 1 meter cables, 3 meters, even all the way up to 15 meters. So a bunch of different options that you have. So probably a little bit, I should have probably moved these a little bit more forward. But next we have the OCD panels. Now, when these were first announced, I didn't really have much of a thought on these. I thought they were very gimmicky, but actually when you come to look at them, they're actually really good. And it makes that nice aesthetic finish for people that like that sort of thing. It really does. So let's just jump over to the computer, and we're going to take a look at what these panels are and the different types they come in. So let's just pull this one up here. So we'll probably have a bunch of tabs by the end of this. So these are the rack mount OCD panels. So we can have a quick look at those and we'll drill into them. And there's a few different options you have. So the ones I have here, if I show you these just here, the ones I have here, we have the vented one, we have the blank panel, and we have the brush plated one. So the brush one, sorry. So if we go back and we see these, so these come in both 1U and 2U. So the blank and the vented panel come in both 1 and 2, and the brush panel only comes in a 1U. So if we have a quick look at those, you can see the 1U there, that's the vented one, and that is the brush panel. So if we move on to opening these up, Just going to move these out of the way because there's quite a few of them. And we're going to need the space because we have quite a bit to unbox. So let's go ahead and quickly open all of these up. I don't think this gets any less satisfying every time you do these. It's always a very Apple-esque experience opening these up. And this is the brush plate, the brush vent, I should say, sorry. And there you go. So that sits just like that, and you can fit the rack ears to the side like so, just like there. And if you want to see what it's like from there, from in terms of width and size, it's a standard size. So that's actually quite nice. It's made of aluminium all the way around, other than obviously the center part. So it's quite solid and it doesn't feel, I thought initially it might be plastic, but it doesn't. It's actually aluminium. So let's move that one. Let's move on to the next one. And then we have the vented one, so we can see that again, made of aluminium, so very solid as this is. And finally, the full false plate. So this one doesn't feel as heavy, so if you are probably not likely something that you're going to be thinking about, but if it's fairly lightweight that you're looking for, this is a lot more lighter than these two. These two have a bit more weight, or this one has a bit more weight than these. So keep that one in mind if you are buying those. I think I'm gonna run out of room quite quickly on this live stream. There's only so much room you can have to use these. Let's have a look at what do we have next. So we then, if we go back to the monitor again, we can actually go ahead and see if we scroll back, go back a page. The next thing is the Keystone patch panel. So this again gives a nice finish. So we're going to go and open up one of these. And if we go back to our top-down camera, and this is the Keystone jack. So for anybody that's watching, if anybody has actually used one of these, I'd be interested to know what sort of Keystone jacks you actually have, because this is my first time using one of these. I've not used one of these before, so I'm going to be setting this up. So there is a full series coming up with this where I set all of this up. So if you want to see that, you know what you need to do. And I want to know what people use. Which ones do you put inside here? Drop me a link, let me know, and yeah, we'll see if we can use them in the video. So inside this we have the Keystone jack. Again, this feels fairly similar to the 1U. So if I pull this one back, the one that's completely blank, this feels exactly the same, except there is holes in this one and there's a plastic cover on the back of it. So let's open this. So there we go. On the back here, you've got the clip for the Keystone, the jack itself. And there you go, those two look exactly the same, except there's a bit of plastic on the back of this one. Inside you get some screws and your rack ears that you normally would expect. I don't know if there's anything else. There is this. So yep, there's a cable tray for this so you can tie your cables down. And make sure it's all kept very nicely, even though you can't see behind. This keeps it held up. There you go, you can pop that into there as well, and you've got yourself a cable tray for the back. So looking at the price difference for this, so $29 for the Keystone jack, but if we have a look at the panel itself, and if we have a look at the blank one, it's $19. So $10 difference between the two, and you get a few bits extra inside it. They both have completely different use cases, so it's not like one is going to be preferable over the other, but just to let you know what the price difference is between the two. let's just head over to the chat and see if there is anything at this point. So, nope. So hello Albert. Thank you for joining. Let's have a quick look at what's next. So we have one that I didn't cover, which is the DAC cable. So these again come in all different sizes. These are generally used to connect your switches together, or they are used to connect your Dream Machine to any switches or any other aggregation, core switch, whatever you have. So these have a link speed of 10 gig. And if we take a quick look at those, we can see what sort of sizes they come in. Yeah, I'm doing this on a very small screen, so probably one to improve for the next one so it's easier. So there we go, you have 0.5 meters, you have 1 meter, 3 meter, 5 meter, 10, all the way up to 30 meters. And that can do, it can do a data rate of 1 gig or even 10 gig. So you can see this is just the half a meter that we have. And again, something we'll use to connect the UDM Pro Max to our 24 port switch to make sure we have a 10 gig throughput. Now we move on to the more meatier stuff of the setup. So we actually have a U7 Pro Max and a U7 Pro Wall, sorry. So we have both of these. Again, both have their use cases for setting up however you wish. The U7 Pro, let's take a look. Let's see what specs we have on here. So one of my favorite websites to go to when I know I'm comparing specs, I'm probably doing myself a disservice here because this goes against some of my videos, but I like to use this. So techspecs.ui.com, if you've not been to that before, you can click this button right here and click compare. And what that basically does is it goes through and you can select what you want to compare between. So I know if I wanted to see the U7 Pro versus U7 Pro Max, I can go down here and have a little look at the tech specs and see what the difference is. So the reason I've gone ahead with the Pro, one big reason for the Pro Max instead of the Pro is the spectrum analyzer. So we'll come on to that in a second, but that's something that's really useful, the spectrum analyzer. But in terms of clients, we have 300 versus 500. The reason I'm reading the Pro model, because I know the Pro Wall is actually the same specification as well. We have a 4x4 MIMO on the 5 GHz spectrum, and it's exactly the same size as the Pro Max. In terms of costing, so if we go back here, same website. If we go back up here and we go to Wi-Fi, you will see where we go. That's just, I think, right at the top actually. Yeah, there we go. So U7 Pro Max 279 and the U7 Pro is 189, and the Pro Wall, if I can find it, there you go, it's 199. Currently sold out at the moment, but that is $10 difference. And again, there's a slight different use case for the Pro and the Pro Wall. If you want to see the use cases between them, let me know. We'll see if we can put a video together. But let's take a look at the two Wi-Fi access points side by side and see what's inside those boxes. So let's take a look here. Just ignore the mess on the desk a little bit. And there we go. So on the back just here, you can see, there we go. We have the Pro Wall, and inside here, not sure if you're going to be able to see that, that is a 2.5 gig uplink port. So when you're connecting this to your network, be sure that you can use it at 1 gig. There's no reason why you can't, but to get the full usage out of this, I do have some benchmark testing videos coming out soon on this, so you can see what the throughput you would get with a 2.5 gig uplink as opposed to a 1 gig. We have a bracket that we see in all the access points, or sorry, template, sorry, that we see in all the Unified boxes, which allows you to drill for this. And then that basically allows you to mount your access point straight onto this. And we have a bunch of different screws depending on how you're mounting it. They're all in here, and we have an ejection tool as well once you get it connected, and if you ever want to take it out, these are what you are going to need. So let's pop this to one side. Vasil, do you have any mobile routers? I do have, or I did have the 4G LTE router. I don't have the new industrial one, and I don't have the mobile router either, but I do have the 4G LTE one, and I'll tell you, I have recorded a video on it already, and I'm hoping that will probably be published in the next week or two. So I'm hoping that will answer any questions you have, but if you do have any questions, let me know. I'm happy to answer any of my experience I had with that so far, so let me know. I'm happy to answer them. Let's just pop this out of the way. And then we have the Pro wall right here. I'm going to have a collection of these by the end of the night, but we'll pop those out of the way for now. And this is the Pro wall. So I've never actually I haven't reviewed this one yet, and neither have I actually used one of these. So what this actually does is you can plug this into your network and it can be used as an access point, but it sits on your wall, and it has the mounting brackets at the back just here, so we can see, there you go, we've got a slide just here. So I'm sure if I open up this box, but lo and behold, here is a bracket, so we can get this screwed to the wall, and then this sits nicely on here like so. So yeah, similar to exactly the same as the Pro model. So if you're looking to buy the if you're looking to buy the U7 Pro, you can actually just, and you don't want to mount it to a ceiling, you want it on your wall or somewhere else where you have an Ethernet socket, you can go ahead and buy one of these and stick that straight to the wall. That's not how that's supposed to go in, so let's do that properly. And we can pop that on the sides. And now we're probably getting to more of the meaty stuff. So let's look at the Pro Max switches. So I have two different models. I have the 16 port and the 24 port. I did do a video on these where we sort of compared them and had a look at the differences between them. So I'm just going to pull out the 16 port for now, because it's a little bit smaller and a little bit easier to manage at this point. So let's go and open this up. Now this one, I said in that video that this is probably my favorite switch at the moment because of the versatility. But there is one more switch that I haven't reviewed just yet, which was behind me, but it's not there at the moment. And that is a video that's coming soon, and that is the Switch Flex 2.5G. So Ubiquiti just released this last week. Finally managed to get my hands on one of these, so big thanks to them for sending this out to me. And I'll be doing a review on this on the coming weeks. So if there's anything you want to see, let me know down in the comments below. Sib, unfortunately, they don't, well, actually they do have a TV, but probably not a big TV that you are looking for. So maybe something we can talk about in another live stream. So this is the 16 port. So it's quite small compared to the 24 port. This switch itself has to be used, you can put it, you can wall mount it. So you have a couple of uses for this. And I'm going to give you a couple of the reasons why I think this is my most favorite switch at this point. So while I just battle with this to take this out, let's have a quick look at the front of this. So we have 8 PoE plus ports, which are gigabit. We have another 4 PoE plus ports, which are also gigabit, but we have 4 2.5 gigabit ports on here, which are PoE plus plus. Now, what this allows is the versatility. You have PoE+, you have gigabit, you have 2.5 gig, and you have PoE++. So depending on what you're using, whether you're using Access or you're using one of these access points that require 2.5 gig, the reason I mention Access is for the PoE++, you have the versatility in this to use them. Now, this can be sat on a desk, just like so. There's an option to mount it to a wall. So within the box itself comes a mount. And if I show you quickly in the chat, if I quickly show you, sorry, on this window, let's have a quick look. So there we go, we've got too many tabs open now. So let's have a quick look, let's maximize that. So we have the 16 port Pro Max, which comes in at $399. You can actually buy yourself a rack mounting kit. So what that allows you to do, you have this little option on the side just here. As you saw that animation just there, it allows you to pop the power pack that comes with it inside there, and it nicely fits in a standard 19-inch rack. Going back to the Pro Max switches, so this is where we have all the different options. So we have two variants, we have PoE and non-PoE, depending on what you want to use. The Pro Max 16 has both options, so they start from 279. You just don't have the PoE. So if you wanted 2.5 gig but no PoE, this is one option for you. But what I will say, if you are looking for a 4-port or 5-port 2.5 gig with no PoE, then this little device could be the one that you need. So the power pack that we have within here, so here we have some ears that look like rack ears, but are not. And I'll tell you why in just a second. We have a European power supply. I beg of you, Ubiquiti, please do something for the UK. We normally get some extra extension leads. We don't get these nice ones. There are some white ones, but when we get to the 48 port and the 24 port where we have the nice little clip on the back of the switch, we don't have those. And this is the power pack. So it looks very similar to the one that you get in the Flex, the Ultra switches, the 210 watt version, and that comes within here. So this will be powering your switch. Let's go and open this up. Now, these little ears sit on the side just here. So you have two different options of where you want to sit this. There's actually a tool to take this out. I'm not going to try and do it with my nail, otherwise it's going to break. But basically, this sits on here and it allows you to then screw this into a wall. So you can pop this right here on the side and you can screw it to a wall, and then that can either be sat on the wall, or again, as I mentioned, you can leave it sat on your desk as well. So, hey Nilesh, is Unify releasing a NAS anytime soon? There's been, from as far as I'm aware, no. Ubiquiti has been rumoured for quite a while on some of the forums that there is a NAS coming. Unfortunately, I haven't heard anything yet, or anything that I'm allowed to say at this point. There isn't anything coming in the near future that I'm aware of. There is people that have been to some of the trade events that Ubiquiti have been to, where they have asked the question, and yeah, you'd have to go to Reddit and forums like that to find some other answers. So let's go ahead and power this one on. Actually, what I'm going to do, just to make life a little bit easier rather than having this power pack, I'm going to quickly open up the 24 port and then we can power that one on, and then go back to the two switches that two Ethernet cables that we had, and we can go and see which one looks better in the switch itself. So let's bring this across. This is quite a big box, so yeah, this is gonna be a bit of fun to unbox. let's take a look at the top down. So this is the pack that you get inside. Again, a very nice European lead, which comes with the clip to make sure it's secure and doesn't fall out. Yeah, please make these in a UK one. That would be really useful for us. We have the hardware kit where we have some rubber feet if you want to pop it as a desktop switch, and we have some screws to go ahead and screw in for the rack ears, like so. So we can go ahead and screw those in. And then let's take this switch out. So this is quite close to the camera, so let's go back this way. I'm going to take this off the desk for the time being. You're asking, are there any good Unify networking printers? Unfortunately not, but I can definitely set up tutorials on how to set up printers using a network cable and any settings that you might need across your network. So let me know if you want that, and I'm happy to put one of those together. So the 24 port, excuse me. So on this, we have a bit more of a variety in terms of ports. I'm talking this way, but you probably can't see it. So we have 8 PoE plus ports, 1 gigabit. We have 8 PoE plus plus ports, which are 1 gig as well. And then we have another 8, which are PoE plus plus and 2.5 gig. So something like this is, again, a lot more versatile. It's a lot more heavier in terms of the switch itself. And one thing I didn't mention on the 16 port switch as well is they both have 10 gig uplinks, which you don't generally see in the smaller switches. The 10 gig uplinks normally come in the bigger models. So really good feature that they've added in here. So I'm going to go ahead and power this up. Oops. So let me just see if I can find a power cable for us to use. Here we go. So pop that one in. And if I show you the front, this is what people say about the switch. So some people are happy with this, the fact that it does this, and some people find it very gimmicky. But the Pro Max switches actually allow you to have RGB lighting on here, depending on your setup. So you can have it via VLAN, or you can have it on your network speed. It's entirely up to you, however you wish to do it. So this does take a few minutes to boot up. So maybe we'll pop this one to the side. How are we getting on for time? Okay, fine. We have a little bit longer. So let's go ahead, and this is where I've taken everything off my desk, so I don't know where everything is. I don't think we're going to see too much in the dark just here. I don't think you want to see me that close to the camera. But while that's on, I don't think I'm going to be able to show you this fully because I don't have it plugged into anything. So if I quickly plug this over this side, let's have a quick look. This is probably not the most useful demo, but let me know if you want to see something, and I'll put a quick short video together on what these look like and which one is probably the best boot to use, or the best patch cable to use. Depends on your setup. So whereas this has the bend flexibility on this, and it stays in that position, this one, I feel if this pulls a little bit here, it can definitely pull quite easily. I'm sure the connection inside is fairly solid, but yeah, keep that one in mind when you are connecting these up and getting the right length. That's also key to this as well. Okay, so let's move this to the side, and let's bring out main one that we want to discuss, which is the UDM Pro Max. Let me just bring up the specifications for this. So here we go. We have the, let's untick the Fortress Gateway because it's probably not one that we're going to have, not one that we're going to be comparing, but hey, if anybody wants to see that comparison and wants to send me an Enterprise Fortress Gateway, I'll be happy to do it. So the Dream Machine lineup looks like this. We have the Pro Max, and the Special Edition, and they both have different use cases. So the Special Edition was supposed to be the replacement for the Dream Machine Pro many years ago, and that sort of came with the big thing that a lot of people were asking for, which was the PoE on the Dream Machine. So that came along with that, but the Pro Max does a little bit different at this point. So the Pro Max unfortunately does not include PoE. So for anybody looking for a PoE gateway, you might want to go with the UDM SE. Just bear with me while I navigate all my boxes that are everywhere. So let me bring this one across. And yeah, there we go. So this is the Dream Machine Pro Max. I'm just going to go back to the specs 1 second. The reason, unfortunately, this doesn't show everything in terms of the technical specs. So it doesn't show processor, but you can see at the bottom, the Special Edition, which I currently have, has PoE on it. But I now have a 16 port and a 24 port, so I don't need the PoE on that device anymore. The big one for me, which was the upgrade, the UDM SE that I have at the moment, I have with ONVIF coming to Unify. I have a bunch of cameras that are Hikvision, so I can now add them into the ecosystem. And what that does, they are 4K cameras, so the Dream Machine SE fills up quite quickly. I can only put about 6 or 7 cameras, and I have some internal cameras as well. So this allows me to expand that. So again, another video coming where I add all my ONVIF cameras onto different VLANs for those that are probably going to be asking. And yeah, this can definitely handle a lot more. So let's go back to the page where we look at the Pro Max. So you can see right there, the Dream Machine Pro Max has the 2 times performance, so it's 2 times faster than the Dream Machine Special Edition. You can see 100 unified devices, and this does 200 and 2,000 clients and 1,000 clients. Now, I don't have 2,000 clients in my house where I'm going to be setting this up, but the NVR storage space is definitely one that's going to be useful to me. So this has 2 bays on the front of it now, as opposed to the Dream Machine SE having 1. And the other big one, which I don't think I'm anywhere near yet, but the 5 gig routing with IPS and RDS enabled. So we currently have 3.5 gig on the Dream Machine Special Edition, and this now has 5 gigabits. In terms of everything else, it's fairly similar. We have the 10 gig ports. The ports are remappable. Again, all this will be covered in a future video when I set this up. And we have 128 gig SSD built in, but I'll be taking out my 8 terabyte drive from my existing UDM and popping it in this. So let's go ahead. We're almost there, a couple more boxes. So let's go and open this one up. So again, the box that comes inside these bigger ones, another European power supply with the hardware kit and the ears that we need to get it rack mounted. So inside the hardware kit, what do we have? So we've got the screws, we have the hard drive screws in this one. So in the Switch, we didn't have this row, but we had everything else. So we have the hard drive screws that we can go and screw the hard drives in, which is useful. So let's pop that to the side. Okay, yes, he does have 128 gig SSD as well. Okay, fine. Yep, so it does, you are correct, it does have one in there. The throughput on the switch we'll have a look at in a second. I don't know that off the top of my head, but we can have a look at the tech specs. John, really like the Unify equipment. I'm using the UDR. All first gen equipment I place. I'll be upgrading mine because some of the new ones have PoE. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for an upgrade, what are you looking to upgrade to? It's always fun setting up new Unify equipment. So yeah, I have a very exciting task ahead of me. But still, you're waiting for the AI Pro. I will get to it. This is the last bit of hardware, I think, and then we've got the 2 cameras, and then we should get to that. So let's open this up. So let's have a look at the front of this. So UDM Pro Max, we have the 2 drives in here, which we need to open this up, and then it pops out. So we have the drive bays. On the drive bays, you can seat a 3.5 inch or 2.5 inch drive, depending on what you want to do. For full compatibility, check out Unify's website. There's a full list on there on what isn't compatible. So you can go and choose something that is. Most drives are, and they do have their own option as well. 2.5 gig WAN and 2 10 gig SFP plus ports right here. We have 8 non-PoE ports, I should say. I was just telling you about that a second ago, and we have some non-PoE ports. So, yep, they are 1 gig. They're not 2.5 gig. It would have been good to probably have these as 2.5 gig, but hey, maybe that might be a V2 of the Pro Max. If we go back to the throughput switching, we'll have to go down to the tech specs for this. So in terms of the switch for the 24 port, so non-blocking throughput is 56 gigabits per second, and the switching capacity is 112 gigabits per second for the 24 port. So back to this, we have, so that's everything on the front, and on the back we have the power lead that we pop in there, and we have the RSP. So these come standard on most of these main devices, which you can go ahead and connect to Unify's RSP. If you've not seen that before, let me show you what that looks like. I think it's in Power Tech, and there you go. That is, you can actually plug in and get 950 watts worth of power out of this single unit, and it connects to this port right here. On the back of it, not sure if there's any pictures, what they've got any. So you can see there's one that comes with it, but there's a bunch of these ports on the back along here, and you can connect them to various of your various other switches. So that is the Pro Max. And now we can move on to what is almost probably the grand finale. So we can have a look at the AI Pro. Let's take a quick look at this. So we have the AI Pro, which is in the slightly older cover, but it's the white version of the AI Pro. And we have the G5 Turret Ultra. So I know Ubiquiti have just added in OMVIF, but there's no notifications on that or any motion detections as of that yet. But obviously their cameras have all of this built in. So let's take a look at the spec of the turret first. So let's go back to here. Let's go to the security cameras. And we have the G5 Turret Ultra. Let's scroll down, let's find the AI Pro. Yeah, that is sold out at the moment. So the G5 Turret Ultra is a 2K 4 megapixel camera. 30 meter IR night vision. I have done a video comparing all the G5 cameras within the range. So if that is what you're looking at, I do have a video on that. Check out my Protect playlist, and that will all be in there. So let's open this one and let's take a look inside. Again, another video coming where I set up Unify Protect in its total. I'm going to show you now. The current Hikvision cameras I have are a little bit old, but I'm sure they've come a long way since then. This is the size of the Unify Protect dome, turret, sorry. And if I show you the, excuse me, if I show you the Hikvision one, you can see the size difference between the two. So definitely replacing your Hikvision cameras with something like this, which is a lot smaller. Feel free to correct me in the comments. I'm sure the newer Hikvision cameras are a lot smaller, but yeah, that's definitely a massive size difference. So the first time I saw one of these, it was yeah, very interesting to see how small this is. Now, maybe the newer Hikvision cameras are this size as well, I'm not sure, but yeah, it's definitely a good one. So, and the image clarity on this is actually really good. So yeah, go ahead and check out that video if you want to see it. We have some cover connectors, and we actually have, depending on the size of your cable you're using. So we can see these patch cables, these aren't the standard cables, but you can see you can obviously buy different level of sizes depending on where you're setting this up. This is probably an outdoor rated cable size for this, something like this. So you have those within there. So they have thought of everything within there, and obviously the waterproofing of the cable itself. In the back here we have some screws. So if you're going through a suspended ceiling or something like that, we have an ejection tool. So if you need to take it out, and if you're screwing it into a wall. So those all come inside the box. You have all the different mounting options as well. There are junction boxes. So if we quickly head back over here, there's compact junction boxes you can buy, and there's another junction box you can buy as well, which is more of a standard one that you tend to see with cameras. And yeah, that's what this one looks like. So again, we'll see this in another video at a later point. And last but not least, we have the AI Pro. So let's go and open this one up. So this one, oh, it does actually. Don't know why I'm doing that. We'll just ignore that part that happened. We have a pull tab on here. And here we go. Let's have a look at the AI Pro. Again, not one I've unboxed before. I have done the G5 Pro, so if it is fairly similar. This reminds me of the old Apple iPhone unboxings. There you go. Can pop that to one side, and it's fully padded inside for anybody that wants to see. There you go. It's fully padded inside, so it's fully protected on both sides. It doesn't just come like this, but it shows you the constructions of it and how it works. So we have the clip that we see in the G5s where we can tighten this. So we have those, and this is the AI Pro. So one thing I do want to get for this is the vision enhancer. So it's a little bit different to the G5 vision enhancer. Let me quickly skip across to that. So if we look at the G5 camera or the AI Pro, $499. It's a 4K 8 megapixel camera with a 3x optical zoom. This AI model does the license plate reading, so it can go ahead and pick that up. So if you have Unify access and you want to be able to trigger the gate with a license plate, you can now do that, or even using faces as well. So the AI enhancer is $179, and that improves the IR range of it, and also has a built-in floodlight. So if you want the color night vision, you can go ahead and use that. And it has a high performance loudspeaker. So something that would be good to test with this camera to see how much of an improvement it makes. And if we look at the G5 Pro and we look at the vision enhancer, this again increases the IR range and has the 600 lumens, but it doesn't actually have the loudspeaker on this. So hence the price difference between the two. This is $99, the other one's $179. But yeah, this is the AI Pro. In terms of the weight, it's fairly similar as with the other one, and that is the lens inside it. So I think that's probably the best you're going to be able to see this. This clip right here, we have a weather seal on the back that seems to have slightly opened up, so maybe, yeah, there you go, you can just put that back on anyway. There's a PoE in on here, so if you have the switches you can go ahead and power this, and if you ever wanted to connect the AI enhancer, that's where you need to plug it in. So the USB-C right here, or what looks like a USB-C, and that goes straight in there. So that pretty much concludes everything I have. It's definitely going to be a busy week for me getting this all set up. I do have a network video coming and a protect video, so if you want to see something specific in those videos on how I set certain things up, let me know. Drop me a comment in one of my other videos, or let me know in the live chat here and we can take a look at that. So there's definitely a lot we've covered. Before we wrap up, let's see. Let's have a quick look at any more questions. So the build quality of this, I would probably say it's the same. It's got the metal housing on here, so it's not made of plastic. The only bit that is, no, it's all made of metal, the metal housing. This does have a bit more weight to it, so actually the bracket at the back here has a screw. I don't think that was on the G5 Pro. I think that's what this is for anyway. I would make that assumption looking at it at this point. This is all made of aluminium, so there's nothing plastic on here, so the build quality is fairly similar. Let's just have a quick look at the tech specs before we let's just have a quick look at this here. So G5 Pro, the G5 Pro, yeah, it's just made of aluminium alloy. The G4 Pro, let's have a look. I can't remember, it's been a while since I reviewed this one, and I've not used one in a little while, so let's take a look. There is some polycarbonate, so there is some plastic in the enclosure. So I would probably say that the G5 Pro might be a slightly better build quality. Same with the AI. In terms of the sensitivity of these cameras, you can change them all the way down to a very minimal setting. You can add in zones where you don't want the motion to be picked up from, so you can do those. Maybe something I can show in a future video on how to get that one set up, so we can definitely include that. And I think that is pretty much all we have time for. So I know the stream can be a few seconds behind, so we'll give it a few minutes, and yeah, if anybody else wants to ask any more questions, feel free. If you found the live stream useful, or you want to chat about Ubiquiti in the future, let me know. I'm happy to do more live streams. Yeah, let me know. Let's see if there's any more questions. The Unify ecosystem, so yes, you can archive it to a NAS. That's something you can do. It's something new that they've just released, I think, in the past 3 or 4 months. So there's actually something you can archive to Dropbox, Google Drive, OneDrive, and a NAS. Thank you, Nash. I hope you have found this useful. Happy to do more of this. So, I mean, if you guys want to just chat about Ubiquiti at any point, yeah, definitely happy to do this next time. Oh, so you want an you want an automated way to do it? Something I'll come back to you on. Let me look at it. I know there are ways to do it. Whether it is within the Unify ecosystem, I'm not sure. Whether it's quite easily and simply to do that on there. but there are some other ways around it that you can make it happen, I believe. So yeah, I'll definitely check that one. You're waiting for a Switch Ultra utility box. Yeah, I mean, that would be useful to have outside. I do have a flex switch that I will be installing outside, but I almost feel like with them releasing this, I almost feel like there should be a 2.5 gig version coming of the flex utility switch as well, or maybe the Ultra switches are replacing the utility switch. So who knows? Your guess is as good as mine at this point. I mean, I am going to be unboxing this, so the 2.5 gigs, so I'm not going to be opening up on this stream, unfortunately. So it's something I'm going to set up. But yeah, no, it's been fun. Thank you guys for joining me, making this evening. I hope you found this video useful, or the live stream. I'm so used to saying videos, I'm not used to doing a live stream, but hopefully we'll see you in the next one.